Hi, this is Valerie Hector. Welcome to my Ren video course. I want to tell you a little bit about the history of this structure, the Ren, as I'm calling it. For me, it all started when I was in New York City in the early to mid 1990s, and I went to antique shops in Soho. I was just looking around on my day off, and I came across this incredible beaded screen panel. Well, I'd never seen this technique before, and I thought, I want to use that in my work. Long story short, it didn't cost much because, let's face it, it's falling apart. So I brought it home. Years went by and I couldn't figure it out. In the first place, this technique is flat as it appears here, and I really prefer dimensional techniques for my work for the most part. In the second place, you see all these multiple vertical threads here. Well, this is a plating technique. It's hard to do. It's incredibly hard to do, actually, and time consuming. And I wanted to turn it into a single needle technique, but I couldn't figure out how. All right, I put it away. And all of a sudden, one day, one year, it occurred to me out of the blue that I could make this double-sided. It didn't have to be flat, and I could make a simpler version. This is actually a bit more complex than this here. And I could make it with a single needle. And I started making these, and they worked very well, especially for earrings. Customers love them. Great. When it came to publishing this technique, however, I wanted to name it after a famous Chinese woman. And I chose Ren Xiaowen. She lived from, I think is it 1362 to 1407 in the early Ming Dynasty in China. She was wearing, in the painting you just saw in the previous slide, she's shown wearing pearl bead lattices stuck into her headdress. We would call them hair sticks nowadays. Well, they frame her face in pearls. They're so beautiful. And they're worked in a technique that's pretty close to this. It's just slightly different. And of course it's flat. Hey, but they're pearls. And they're incredibly beautiful. Other Ming Dynasty empresses also had similar pearl bead lattices for hair ornaments. So I named it after Ren Xiaowen. Of course, I liked it that she was educated. She was an educated woman. She could read and write, and she wrote some biographies of virtuous women, which was a politically intelligent thing to do in her case, but it was also, I think, something she loved doing. So I called this the Ren Lattice, okay? So that's the backstory. I want to tell you a couple things in these videos. When you hear me say, you can look at the instructions, page 4, for instance, what I'm referring to is the Ren Lattice pattern instructions that you can download for free on my website, valeriehector.com. Just look for the patterns department, scroll down, and find the Ren Lattice patterns. They're free, okay? And so they accompany these videos, but you don't need them. You don't absolutely have to have them. It's the videos that really will help you make your first Ren, okay? The other thing is I'm not doing kits anymore, so if you hear me in these videos, refer to kits. I'm not offering kits anymore. Why? Because I love making videos and they're easier, okay? So if you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe to this channel. I have so many ideas for upcoming videos, like hundreds, okay? Literally, things I want to share with you, techniques, and also videos on beading history, beading cultures. I really want to show the faces of beaders from other beading cultures, okay? Comment, ask questions. I answer, usually within a day or two, okay? Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you in the next video. So let's talk about the different sizes of Ren lattices that you can make. Here are 3, but there are many, many more after this. All of these are symmetrical, but you can also make asymmetrical or irregular Ren lattices. Here is the 9 by 4 by 8. The 9 means there are 9 cubic right angle weave cubes in this structure. You make them first, okay? The 4 means that there are 4 windows. The 8 means that the windows are encircled by, they're framed by 8 beads each, okay? So this is the 9, 4, 8. And this is the 9, 4, 12. 9 cubic right angle weave cubes, 4 windows, each window framed by 12 beads. This is the 16 by 9 by 12. So 16 cubic right angle weave cubes, 9 windows, and each window is framed by 12 beads, okay? So I have made 3 videos, sets of videos, one for each of these structures. And I encourage you to go on and create other structures, you know, do riffs like a jazz musician does a riff on a structure. Do something different, do something that's just your own, that's unique, okay? Play with them, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Now for every 9, 4, 12 Ren you want to make, you're going to have to start out by making 9 cubic right angle weave cubes. A lot of you already know how to do this. This is just very basic. Some of you don't. It's a very enjoyable structure to work with. It has endless potential, as artist David Chat and others have shown us. Normally, when I make a cubic right angle weave cube, I stitch it until it can't be stitched anymore. I like them very firm. In this case, I always have to stop myself halfway and try to remember not to stitch them too tightly, because you won't be able to finish them into a Ren lattice if you do. You've got to leave room in the holes of these beads so that you can go on and stitch them some more. So a good rule of thumb is let them still be, you know, a little bit squishy. Reinforce them halfway. Don't reinforce them all the way. That's absolutely crucial. These are size 4mm fire polish beads. In other words, they're glass, right? So I've stitched these cubes with a size 10 beading needle, but to go on stitching them, to build them into a Ren lattice, I'm now going to drop down to a size 12 because I really don't want to break any of these glass beads, and I want to make sure that I can get my needle through the holes as much as I need to, okay? So after, what I like to do is after I make my 9 cubes, I like to set them aside in this pattern so I know how many are left to add. It's just an easy device for remembering which cube you on, how many more do you have to add, especially as you're just getting used to building this structure. It will help you a lot. Leave them, set them aside in this configuration somewhere on your workbench, okay? And I'll see you in the next lesson. Now you already made your 9 right angle weave cubes, and you haven't reinforced them too well. You've left them squishy or floppy or wimpy, whatever you want to call them. They need to be loose, right? Because we need room in the beads, in the holes of the beads, in order to stitch through, especially if you're using glass beads. Not so much if you're using metal beads, but still don't overly reinforce as you make your cubes. Now, you can stitch in a clockwise pattern as you form the frames of the windows. You can stitch counterclockwise. You can stitch however you want, right? Your goal is going to be to create window frames that have 12 beads per ring. In the 948 Ren, we added only 1 bead in each space. Now we're going to add 2 beads per space, okay? So 4 beads of each window frame are already in place. Let's get this out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're always already in place. So for each window frame, we're just going to add 2 beads here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, for a total of 12 beads, okay? This can go very, very quickly. And in this video, in the videos, I generally don't teach according to the print instructions exactly because, you know, I love the print instructions. We all do, but they teach theory. When everything goes well, when you don't have problems. And in videos, we encounter little roadblocks, difficulties, whatever. And so the videos teach you the real world. What happens in the real world when you go to create one of these. You know, you'll come across the same issues I do at some point in time. And hopefully you'll know how to deal with them. Okay, so I'm going to move these other guys out of the frame here. The first we're connecting 4 cubes, right, with one window. So the cubes, the beads in the cubes that we connect are always the directional beads. So in this case, the south bead in cube 1, the east bead of cube 2, the north bead of cube 3, and the west bead of cube 4. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You will soon be making these structures without any help at all from the print instructions or the videos. Once you get the concepts and the principles down, you won't need to refer to anything. You'll be creating your own Rens, and my hope is you'll create variations. You know, you'll do things that have never been done in the history of beadwork. And then maybe you'll share your creations, you know. So we just keep the innovation going and the love of beadwork going. I don't think it's in any danger of dying out. I really don't. It's been around for thousands of years. The earliest, I'm trying to think, I don't know, European Upper Paleolithic, the earliest credible pieces, the earliest credible evidence of complex structures in beads is what? I don't know. It's a long, long time ago. I'm not going to give you the wrong date here, so I'll just say many thousands of years. Okay, did we get this right? Yeah, I am now at this point. I'm going to tug on the tail and tug on the working end of the thread, and I'm going to take a look. I'm going to count the number of beads in this ring. I just want to be sure that we have 12. I'll start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Beautiful. What we're going to do now is we're going to reinforce this ring, and then we're going to navigate to the next ring. All right, reinforcing shouldn't be too hard. And I'm trying to not block your view of the work with my hands, but inevitably sometimes my hands will have to get in the way. Okay, we'll keep going here. The other thing about the tail is, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it helps us orient ourselves. It helps us when the work flips off our table here, our desktop in our studio, and it ends up on the floor, and we can't remember where we are. We look at the tail thread, and we remember that it's coming out of the top bead here in cube 1 and sitting to the right. And that really, at times, that can be a lifesaver. All right, so now we're going to go through, hopefully, a couple. That bead is definitely getting kind of tight. And if I didn't mention it already, I'm using a size 10 needle here, because I've been breaking my 12s, making these structures so often. Either I have a bad batch of 12 needles, size 12 needles, or I don't know, these fire polish, 4mm fire polish beads have really tight holes. Great. Okay, so now we've reinforced this ring. Now what? Now we're going to be adding 2 more cubes. Let's get them lined up here. You can add them over here, you can add them over here, it doesn't matter, just so long as you have a strategy. And our strategy is navigate down, 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 and stitch around. Okay, so let's do that. Whoops, we lost them, but we'll get them. We will get them back. Okay, and we're going to come out through this one. Okay, great. I will, and we want to always make sure that we've got the ceilings of each cube oriented to the top, which we do, all right? Okay, it's looking good. Let's see if I can, oh, I got one of them. Let's see if I can find the other here. Oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. Occupational hazard, right? Things end up on the floor. Beads fall. Great. Okay, now we're going to add these 2 cubes. And again, our mission is to create a ring, a window frame that has 12 beads in it. Already 4 beads are in place. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's pretty straightforward that we're just going to be adding a total of 8 beads. So 2 beads per stitch. Beautiful. Go through, add 2 more and go through this one. You know, got to flip this back up. Okay, go through. We're going through the north bead in this cube. We just came from the east bead in that cube. And now we're going to add 2 beads, and we're going to go through this bead here. Was that correct? Or is there some mistake here? I think that wasn't, see, that wasn't correct. So I have to back out. What happened there is my ceilings got, you know, disarranged. And so I ended up stitching through a wall instead of a ceiling. So all of this is good for you to see. Let's take a moment and make sure that we're working from ceiling to ceiling. Okay, not ceiling to wall. All right, there we go. Now this is our target bead here. Okay, the west bead in this cube, in the ceiling of this cube. Okay, how are we looking here? Take a moment, reorient. Looks pretty good. Let's go. We want to, these 2 beads are already in place, which is nice, kind of a bonus. Let's go through them. And then after we go through our first bead, we're going to take a moment and reorient. And then we're going to count to make sure we actually have 12 beads. So I think we do. Okay. All right, let's pull. How are we doing here? Looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Beautiful. Now, so our next goal is to reinforce this ring and then navigate probably over here to add the 3rd ring, okay, the 3rd window. Okay. So a little more reinforcing of this ring, and then we're going to navigate however we have to, into position to create the third window frame. Now let's see if this bead will allow us to go through one more time, or if it will just like say no. Maybe, possibly. Okay, we did it. All right, now I'm navigating into position to add the next window frame. Pulling tightly now. All right, great. Now I want you to see that at this point, it's really up to us where we want to go. We can go clockwise, go through this, and then start adding here. We can go counterclockwise by going down through this one and start adding there. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to see if I can go down here. Two. Good. All right. So we're adding 2 more cubes, not just 1, but 2, right? And it's the same concept. Add 2 beads, go through a bead, okay? In this case, the north bead in this cube is the bead we go through, right? And the west bead in this cube. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 more beads, and they go through this bead here. Okay, so looking good. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to check, take a minute to check that I've actually gone through the ceilings, not the walls, of each cube. Yeah, it looks right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Beautiful. All we have to do is reinforce now around this ring, and then add our final ring, our 4th and final ring. Interesting. So this bead is just not participating. What do we do? Okay, we've encountered a roadblock. Can't seem to get through. Wait, this bead, do we have to go? Yes, we do have to go through this bead. So what are our options? I would navigate around probably. I'm thinking how I would navigate around. I would skip this bead altogether if we can't get through it. Is this what we're doing? See, now I've lost my place, so I have to go back and remember my place by putting the tail thread there. And it's this bead we can't go through. So what are our options? We could navigate around it, go through this, and this, which is probably the best strategy. Skipping this guy altogether, that's one option. We could go down through here, down through the middle, over and up, which is another option. That's actually the option I'm going to take. Well, no, I'm going to go the outer way. Except the outer way is too full of thread. So we have to create a detour that will work, right? That gets us, allows us to navigate to where we need to be. Go through this one. Come up through this one, right? All right, it's not ideal that we skip that bead, but it's not awful either, right? Because we're still reinforcing most of this ring. All right, so next we're going to navigate into position to add our final ring. Okay, reorient, check everything now. Take a minute and check. Does everything look right here? We're stitching ceiling to ceiling. We got 12 beads per ring. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. All right, now to create our final window, our final ring of 12 beads, again, we can go clockwise like this. We can go counterclockwise like this. It really doesn't matter. One cube is left to add. Okay, so I'm going to go the easy way. Just through this bead here, I'm going to add 2 beads. And then go through a west facing bead in the ceiling of this cube. Okay, might as well pull. Good. Add 2 beads. Go through this bead. Okay, reinforce. Or complete the ring. Yeah, I think we can get through this one. Looking good. Okay. And we're just completing the ring here. Hoping we can get through this bead, which it could be very, well, I think we can do it, okay. Good. Pull. Go through these guys. Go through these. Now we're getting tighter, reinforcing a little more. Definitely pushing our luck with respect to how much room we have in some of these beads. Good. Now, can we go through this bead one more time, or do we have to take a detour? I'm gonna guess that we need to take a detour. I think so. All right, detour down this time. Again, down, down, over, and then back up. So it's like a 3 bead detour. Not bad. And here we are again. We're on the upside, the top side. Go through this. Okay, this is great. Now, we want to get into position, navigate into position to start adding the bottom side. I have enough thread on my needle that I might be able to add the entire bottom side without changing thread. Then again, maybe not. Okay, can't go through that one. We'll go through this one. And what we want to do is flip this over. We want to go through this bead here. This could be any bead in a wall, any wall bead. And then go like this. Okay. And check out, where are we? We are in position to go through this bead. And that's where we can start creating the bottom layer. Okay, so that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. The bottom layer is going to be a mirror image of the top layer, bottom side, top side, you know what I mean. So it's going to be actually even easier than this was. I'll see you in the next video. Now, in the last video, I ended by saying I had enough thread on my needle to make the entire bottom side without changing thread. And then I changed my mind. So I decided to add a new thread that's even longer. I'm going to snip off the old tail because it might just be confusing. All right, and this is our new tail thread that we will sometimes use to orient ourselves, okay? Now the bottom side is this exact mirror image, as I said, of the top side. And we're going to add 2 beads per space for a total of 12 beads in each ring. We can stitch counterclockwise like this. We can stitch clockwise like this. It doesn't matter. Our only mission is to create rings of 12 beads without cracking any beads. Okay, so let's get started. This will go pretty quickly. We know we always connect through the ceiling of a directional bead, right? So in this case, oops, in this case it's the south bead. In this case it's the east bead. Now we're going to add 2 beads and go, excuse me, this was the north bead. Now this is the east bead, and then we're going to go through, this is the south bead. Okay. There we go. All right, now I'm going to add 2 beads. And go through the west bead in the ceiling of this cube. Okay. Add 2 more beads. Go through the north bead in this cube. And then pull. Then I'm going to grab onto the tail thread and grab onto the working end of the thread. I'm going to pull them against each other to tighten this ring. I'm going to take a second to look this over. Is it really 12 beads? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, beautiful. So we're just going to circle around this ring now and then navigate into position to add another ring. It could be this ring. It could be this ring. It really doesn't matter. So long as it's we're creating 4 rings of 12 beads each for our 4 windows. Window frames, whatever we want to call them. Okay. I like it when I can go through 3 beads at the same time. It's great. Or 2 beads. That's also fine. Okay. So I think we've reinforced it, right? We've gone around every bead once. Now, which way should we go? I don't know. Let's go up through here, which amounts to a little bit of extra reinforcing for this. Okay, where are we? Go through this one. We could work our way around this way. We could go this way. Doesn't matter. It's an easy structure once you get the hang of it. Go through this one. Okay, looking good. Add 2 beads. Okay, only 2 left to add. All right, so this this window frame is done, take a moment, check to see that there are 12 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looking good. Let's reinforce it. Okay. Okay, looking good. A little more. We're going to navigate over here and then add that frame without cracking any beads, I hope. Okay. Great. Now we're in position to create the third frame. All right, so here. Okay, we'll go through this one. Go through this one. Okay, pull. We're not really done, I don't think, with this ring yet. We haven't closed it all the way, but we will. Good. Now we all have to do is reinforce this and then navigate over here or over here. Most likely over here because we want to reinforce these. And to create the final ring. See how quickly this went? It's great. Great. All right, the final ring. 2 beads, go through this bead. We seem to be having an issue here. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Add 2 more beads. Go through this. Reinforce, right? Let's just zip our way around, hopefully, this 4th window. And then we're going to navigate into position to stitch the edges. Ooh, this guy is looking kind of full. Yeah. And I don't think I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go down through a wall bead in the middle. And even that one is a little bit full. I am going to navigate over trying to remember where I am. Hoping we can get lucky. Going through this one. Oh, we got very lucky here. And go up through this one. Okay, so I've taken a detour. And you'll find that you have to take detours too, probably, to reinforce your Rens. And that's all right. That's a normal part of the process. All right, so now, oh no, wait, we were skipping that guy. I forgot. We're going this way. Should I go a couple more? Yeah, why not? Should I go through this one? I am now going to head over to an edge. Okay, so here I am at an edge, and I'm in position to begin reinforcing, or rather connecting the edges here. Reinforcing them, connecting them, whatever you want to say. We're connecting the top side or top layer to the middle layer to the bottom layer as we do it. And that will do in the next video. You'll see how easy it is. And I'll see you in the next video. Now, the edges here are composed of rings. We have rings of 4 beads here, here, and here. Then we have rings of 6 beads. Then 4 and 4, and 4 and 6. Our mission is to stitch around each ring, whether it's a ring of 6 beads or a ring of 4 beads, in any direction at all. That will work. And to remember which direction we're stitching in. I mean, are we stitching to the right or are we stitching to the left? I find that I often get lost. I forget which direction I'm stitching in. So I try as much as possible to hold the structure with one side, the same side facing up, the same side facing down. In other words, don't keep flipping it unless you're really good at remembering which direction you're moving in. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go through this middle bead here. Okay, and then see here, I'm already doing it. It's very hard to do that, to keep one side pointing up at all times. But I'm going to try anyway. Okay, well, that's not working. There we go. So I'm first stitching around a ring of 6 beads. Back in the day, as I've said before, I used to completely reinforce these Rens, these structures. I would reinforce the interiors. It would take forever. And then I realized there really isn't any need to do that, okay? Stitching around the perimeter beads, the edge beads, is enough to create a perfectly secure structure, okay? So now I've gone around this ring once. That's great. Now I'm navigating over to this ring, okay? Now, I want to reinforce this ring, okay? It should not be too hard because a lot of these perimeter beads still have decent amounts of room in the holes. So hopefully we won't encounter too many roadblocks. If we do, we do. If we do, they're invitations to be resourceful and creative. Okay, I've pretty much gone around this ring. Now, having reinforced this ring and this ring, I'm going to reinforce this one, okay? To do that, I go down through this one. over through this one. Back through this one. Pull right through this one. Through this one. Okay, and then we're ready to start the next ring. Okay, so see what we've done. We reinforce this ring of 6. We reinforce this ring of 4, this ring of 4, and now we're starting on this ring of 4. Okay, so I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to let you work on your own, because this is just so straightforward. I don't think you need a complete tutorial, especially if you can keep track of your place, which, as I said, which direction you're going in can be hard to do. Well, for me anyway. Okay. Okay, and now we're in position to reinforce this ring of 6. Okay, this is pretty easy. I'm going to let you do the rest on your own. When you finish everything, well, you have the option of going back into the structure and reinforcing. I would take a size 12 needle. I would have a whole packet of 25 on hand for this. And I would touch up some of these cubes that look a little bit loose, especially at the edges. I would probably have to snip off the thread quite a few times because I'd encounter roadblocks. But I would just touch this up. I would reinforce a little more after the edges are done. Okay, and when you're done with that, then this 9-4-12 Ren is finished. Congratulations, you finished your Ren 9-4-12. Now I hope you go on to make more, and I also hope you go on to invent your own structures, like this one, another lattice structure, completely different. I made it of sterling silver bugle beads. It is symmetrical, as you can see. It's kind of large, but we could make it smaller. And I also make asymmetrical lattices. I would not call these Rens per se. I'm trying to hold it up so that you can really see it. And this one too. I wouldn't call these Rens per se. They're something different. I haven't named them yet. Maybe I will in the future. But this is the kind of thing that I hope you'll go on and create your own variations. Innovate. Do things that have never been done. Okay? That's what keeps our field alive and growing. Because as you know, there's so much that's possible in beads and beadwork that's never yet been discovered. So I'll see you in the next course, and thank you for taking this one. Bye.